My name is Tshepy. I am also known as Tshepy, famously known as Tshepy M. Tshepy M is just a bubbly someone. I just love people. I just love talking to people, getting to know people, getting to know different kind of people. And I am a mom, I'm a wife, I am a multi-business person. I like to take risks. And yeah, that's me. I discovered that I have a passion for people when I myself realized that I needed the passion, the compassion. That's when I realized that people need people, right? And if you can be that person that can be available when people need you, why not? So I tried to avail myself in as much as I can stretch myself like super thin, but I tried to avail myself just to hear what someone else might need and how I may be able to help. My passion for business started emerging from when I started working. So I started working straight after matric, and I never actually had a passion for business when I was in school, because I never knew what I wanted to do when I was in school. I was just at school and I just wanted to go to school because I had to be plugged into school. And when I finished school, I went straight into an internship. It was actually a learnership where I was in the pharmaceutical industry. And when I was there, because I left home so early, I had to learn how to make extra income because we were not earning a lot of money as, students. And then I just started like looking for things to sell, and I started looking at ways to make extra income. And in doing that, I realized that actually I think I can run businesses. And the funny thing is that in my family, I don't know anyone that is like an astute business person. So I think it's just that passion, because I realized that I had to survive. So I had to learn to make a way with whatever that I could be able to find. So I was selling perfumes, baking scones, looking for other ways to make extra income. And then I realized that actually business does work. It obviously requires you to take a lot of risks, which I was not fully prepared to take the risks, but I realized that if I had an opportunity to take a risk, I could take a risk. So I discovered that I'm actually called to be a light to people and just to be a blessing to people after I got born again. It wasn't instantly after I got born again, but okay, let's just give a backstory of how I got born again. So when I grew up, I knew nothing about the Lord. I was just going up and about because I grew up in different homes. My mother had me at a very young age, so obviously she had to go back to school. And with her going back to school, I grew up with my mother's aunt, and I was moved to different places. So in terms of religion or Christianity, I didn't have that fundamental background. I didn't have a foundation of what Christianity was, what a calling was, what the Lord was even in my life. And fast forward to 2011, I went to a camp, a girls' camp. I thought we're actually going there to party, and I had like my plans for the weekend, which didn't materialize. And then when I got to that camp, I realized it was a girls' camp, and they were preaching, praying in tongues, doing all these things. And for some reason, I just thought, actually, I was rebellious. I thought, these girls are crazy. I'm not going to give my life to the Lord. And I found myself, one of the mornings, I was just soaked in the presence of the Lord. And the way I got born again, it was not normal for me. Like, I wouldn't have voluntarily given my life to the Lord, because obviously I had a taste of the world and I enjoyed the world, and I felt like that's what life had to offer for me. So I gave my life to the Lord, and I was like, let's see what happens. Let me just give my life to this Jesus and we'll see what happens. And from there on, my hunger for the Lord developed, and my desire to know the things of God was not normal. Like, I always wanted to know more, and I was always so hungry for the things of God. And that's when I started doing fundamental courses. I went into Bible college, And when I went through that, I actually began to realize that I think I'm called to do the things of God more often. It's not just about being born again and trying to get to know the Bible. Like, my passion and my desire was crazy. Like, it was like nothing I had never experienced. And I had a lot of people saying, okay, Tshepy, we see you ministering in this way. We see you doing this. We see you doing that, you know. And even in my heart, like, I just felt like I want to do more. I want to do, because I never had the chance to know Jesus, and I never had the chance to know that there is life. Like, there is the Lord who gives life. I would like to just share that with people, just so that they can know. It's not like I didn't get to know the Lord because I didn't want to. I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't have that exposure. So that's when I realized that I think maybe God just wants me to just share and just tell people about Him and the possibility of having a good life, you know, because it is in knowing the Lord that you will fully know, like, what the Lord has called you to do. Because at the end of the day, He's the one who's called us. He's the one who knows the plans that He has for us. He's the one who knows what He wants us to do even on this earth. So that's how I just came about being now I feel like I'm actually saying yes, Lord, after 10 years of being born again, because I've always been a runner. Like, everyone will say Mamfundis, and I'll say, no, this is not me. You know, I'm not saying that I'm a pastor, but I'm saying that for whatever the Lord wants to do in me in this season, I say yes. Okay, what I would say to the younger Tshepy, because first of all, the younger Tshepy that I remember, she was just looking to fit in anyway, you know. She didn't have an identity. She was just going with the flow. I don't know if the fact that I grew up the fact that I had an unstable upbringing could contribute to that, and the fact that I didn't have a present earthly father, I don't know if that could contribute to that. But the younger Tshepy that I knew, she was very lost. She was just living because, you know, life had to happen. She didn't have dreams. She didn't have goals. She was just there existing. So what would I say to the younger Tshepy? Seek the Lord. Like, because my life began to make sense after I got born again. Even now, it's still unfolding. I haven't yet arrived, but I'm at a place where I am fully grateful for where I am, for what I have, and for just being alive, you know, because there's multiple times where I thought suicide was the only way out. There's multiple times. There's one time where I almost successfully taken my life, you know, because I was just seeking for attention. I was just seeking for, I don't know, for love, and just yearning for whatever. And also, I didn't have the knowledge of the Lord, you know. So what I would say to younger Tshepy is seek the Lord, you know, seek the Lord in your youth and just wait on Him. Because for me, as the older version of myself, that's what has been able to help me and to carry me through. Okay, business has challenges. Every business has its own challenges, and I believe that business is not just running a business and being able to provide a service or being able to provide products, you know. But I also believe that business also goes back to the mindset as well, you know, because as I've mentioned before, that growing up, I never had goals. I never had intentions to be anything else in life. So most of the challenges that I would come across would be challenges of having to accept that I can be someone else, you know, and that God has prepared more for me. So the challenges that I deal with, for me, it's not just the normal business challenges, but it's also the challenge of having to fully accept that the Lord is doing a new thing, and I have to be fully rested in what He is doing, so I may be able to also be like to serve Him in what I am doing, So I just constantly just go back and say, Lord, remind me why you called me into this, so that I don't fall back into that mindset, that a poverty mindset, if I may put it like that. So for me, it's also just constantly renewing my mind. And in terms of the actual business challenges, you just rise up. Challenges come, they push you to the next level. Challenges, they test your strength. They test if you really want to do the business, to build an empire and to break generational curses, right? It's not just about making money, but it's also about pushing forth so that the next generation can know that a Tshepy generation was once here, and a Tshepy generation laid the foundation, and now the generation after me, they don't have to push through that. I'm hoping that Tshepy M will be able to ignite hope from someone who says that I never saw myself as someone of worth, of substance, and I've never seen myself as someone who can be able to achieve beyond what they had put as a bar. I hope that people will also get to know their God-given purpose, their God-given identity, through interacting with Tshepy M, as myself, as the brand as well. And I'm also hoping that people will break out of the shells, and they will break out of the fears, and they will break out of the mindsets that have kept them captive, and they will push forth and yearn to discover what's on the other side, without being scared of taking risks, without being scared of just taking that step, but also with the hope of knowing that with every step that I take, God is holding my hand. With every step that I take, the Lord has already been on that other side, With every step that I take, it's a step of faith. So I'm really, really hoping that Tshepy M will not just help people in terms of the business world and getting them to make more money or anything like that, but more of introducing them to their identities, their God-given identity, because it is in you knowing your identity that you can fully prosper, and it's also in you knowing your identity that you can fully do that which the Lord has called you to be, because at the end of the day, we are here because God has placed us here. There's been generations that came before us, and there'll still be generations that will come after us. But the fact that we are here as this generation, God has a plan for us. So that's what I hope to achieve through Tshepy M, just to get everyone to reign in what the Lord has called them to do, be it in business, be it in being as a mom, be it in just being whatever that the Lord has called the person to be.